got a guest on tonight to
And we are live here tonight, Wednesday night, November 5th. Your Go team. We got Daniel, we got Zombie Bob, we got Chip here tonight. And joining us as well, we have special guest Carter Bryant of the LSU Power Hour here with us tonight. Carter, thank you for joining us. How are you tonight?
No, what was that music? What was that?
That is a throwback. So we run into copyright issues, and we've
Yeah.
played a little too fast and loose with some intro music, some bumper music on the way in and the way out. So that song has some LSU ties to it because it is the theme song from Pistol Pete, The Birth of a Legend, which was a straight to ABC. Was it the Family Channel back then, Chip?
Yeah, the Family
Yeah.
Channel.
The Family Channel. It was a movie filmed here in Baton Rouge that was straight to the Family Channel that my old man recorded, and the copy of it we had, it wasn't even like a real version of the movie. We had commercials and everything because he just recorded it straight from the Family Channel. And so that was the theme song, Rise on My Own from the band Mirage.
Mirage. Yeah. Now I'm a big. So it's funny. My wife's a big music guy. I'm not as or gal. I'm not as big of a music fan as she is. But I'm a wedding DJ. I just did a big one
Right.
in Denham Springs, and it's funny like how little I actually know. Like I don't think you could be like a super diehard music guy and then be a super diehard sports guy at the same time, because I really do think music is infinite.
Yeah.
Like, so the wedding in Baton Rouge or Denham this past weekend was a mostly Hispanic wedding. So they requested. I'm sorry for just going on a rant.
No, that's what we do.
That's what we do.
No, so I loved it. They requested cumbia. All right, so I don't know if y'all are y'all familiar with cumbia.
Nope.
Okay,
No, that's a
Chip,
new one
you know
on
what
me.
cumbia is?
Uh-uh.
Okay, all right. So it's like famous Spanish dance music. So it's like
Okay.
Selena, Suavemente, 17 años, and it was incredible. I this was only the second Spanish wedding I've done, and then what happened was the next day I did a wedding in a smaller town, a completely different set of people, and I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna play cumbia to see how it goes, and this was completely different set of crowd, and they went crazy. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
they went nuts. I mean, we're talking. We got white boy wasted at that one, and dude, once cumbia hits you, it hits you. So it's one of those things. So I was like learning. Well, let me write that down. I thought I was going to talk about everything that was going on in the LSU world. You said it was Mirage.
The band is Mirage,
Mirage.
and Rise on My Own is the name of the song.
And it's from.
And there was another one they did in the same movie. Chip, do you remember the name of the other song?
No.
We Are the Dreamers or something like that.
I remember there was like this
Dreamers, something like
there
that.
was a few of those 80s mix, those mid 80s type of songs. I knew that.
And then Chip, so we have Anthony Bourdain in your background. Is that who that is? Okay.
Yeah, Anthony Bourdain and Lemmy Kilmister, lead singer of Motorhead, is behind me.
Well, Chip is the guy, and Zombie Bob as well, but Chip is the guy who considers himself a music fanatic and a sports fan at the same time. So Chip might put that theory to the test.
Oh yeah, look, hey, Chip might know who Jethro Tull is, and so
oh gosh, of course I know Jethro Tull.
Oh, you get down with Jethro. That's normally the classic. That's normally the classic rock litmus test.
Sitting on the park bench, yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then let me test your music knowledge here. Okay.
Go ahead.
Let's go deep cut in a different, and you got to tell me the genre. Okay, I'm gonna go deep cut. Let's see, who am I gonna go with? Okay, what this might not be that deep a cut. What genre of music is Charlie Pride known for?
Oh, he's like 70s country.
That wasn't asking you, Zombie Bob. I was Chip. Did you know it? Did you know it, Chip?
I don't know Charlie Pride. I do like a lot of. I guess I would say I like the 40s, 50s, and 60s country. I like obviously I think they call it outlaw country, right?
Yeah. That's
Carter, I'm sorry. I thought it was a general throw it out there.
No, it's for Chip because Chip was
my bad.
To be the music.
Sometimes I'm good. I do like John Prime. I thought that's who you were going to say at first.
Okay, all right, John Prime. Yeah, he's
yeah.
And Charlie Pride. Love me some Charlie Pride.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was a country DJ for a while, and I didn't know anything about the genre or anything like that. But yeah, it's hard to be a sports aficionado and a music aficionado because they're both infinite. I think movies and sports is a little bit easier, ironically, to be a fan of. But I always like listening to new music. And Zombie, in your background, we have a is that Billy Cannon helmet autographed? We got a Billy
autographed. And then our first guest that we had on the podcast this year, my favorite LSU player of all time, Braden Fajoko. So I have two autographed LSU football helmets, Billy Cannon, Braden Fajoko. And I got Braden's autograph on that, up here on an autographed picture of his. And then right after the championship, he was selling sweatshirts. And I had one of those as well. So,
dude.
That's I just, when we had him on, Carter, it was, it's his family connection. It was his parents, his brothers, but especially his relationship with his dad, and that the whole world got to see and enjoy. Yeah. And it reminded me so much of, my old man. So Daniel and I had the same dad. He's gone 20 years this coming January. Actually, not that long.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And,
so y'all are brothers.
Yeah. Daniel and I are brothers, and then Chip's just like I said, a brother from another mother, because he's been around, almost as long as Daniel's been around.
Okay, cool.
But I started going to LSU games with my dad in the 70s, and so from the 70s through the 80s, and then the 90s, Daniel was old enough, and he started coming and give him money to go to the concession stand during halftime, because that's what youngest brothers were born to do, and then all the way through. So
yeah, so the Charles Alexander jersey retirement must have meant a lot to you.
I mean, yeah, but I got to see Charlie Alexander, Dalton Hilliard, Gary James, of course. Then I think one of the biggest signings LSU ever had was Kevin Falk, and just signing on with DiNardo and just giving legitimacy to that class and that that stage of the program after the early Holman years in the early 90s. But and then of course I thought for sure Leonard Fournette would have won a Heisman, and who would have ever thought that an LSU quarterback would win a Heisman Trophy, not once but then twice. And I would have thought for sure going into this season that Nussmeier would have been the third. So, but that's where we are. The season went off the rails. But Carter, before we get into LSU football, tell us a little bit about yourself. How do you become a DJ, and you're spinning all of this, and hosting the Power Hour? How did you get to this point?
Yeah, so I went to LSU and I always wanted to be Stuart Scott. Stuart Scott is my goat. And I know Zombie, you grew up when Sports Center was still Sports Center, and he was he was so much better at it than anyone else that's ever been a broadcaster. So him and Colin Cowherd were my two biggest influences. And I said, look, I played all four sports in high school. I was 5'7" and just too slow. So I was like, there's no way I could play collegiate in any of the sports. Had some feelers for soccer, but whatever. And then I went to LSU, and then, I was like, I want to do media. So I got a radio show on LSU's campus my sophomore year, co-hosted it with some friends of mine. And then pretty much the rest is history. I took a radio job, and then I saw the future was YouTube. And, I left radio where I was doing a country R&B and sports show every day, like 3 separate shows. I was doing it every single day. And then wedding DJing happened, and then I did stand up for 5 years, and I just kind of mixed all those things together to try to be as entertaining as I can on YouTube. And it's opened up a lot of doors for me, man.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
We think that's funny because I was going to ask, like, it's not easy just hosting everything by yourself. I mean, with Daniel and I, I'm 19 years older than he is. So, like, obviously the whole thing, but like playing off of each other. And like I said, Chip's been around since they were in high school and such. So he's part of the family.
So Chip and Daniel are friends.
Yeah. And so then, so it's easy to, when you have brothers and you're just riffing off of each other constantly, and it's like, oh, well, let's do it on a pod. But like the admiration for you doing this constantly, pretty much by yourself, I mean, obviously you have a shit ton of guests that come on and whatnot, but just rolling it out solo, that's not easy.
It takes a different skill. It takes a whole nother skill set.
I could talk to a wall for hours about sports. I really can. Like, I love the art of it. The funny thing is, my career is a little bit different in that most of the radio I've ever done is just by myself. The only time where the only radio stop I've ever had where I wasn't a solo act, at least at some point, was when I was at Sirius XM in DC. So I just produced and co-hosted there, but yeah, I like. It's not that I like being solo. I would love to co-host a show with someone else. It's just I'm just so used to it. Like,
right.
If I need to do it, if I need to do a 3-hour show in South Carolina, just give me an hour to test the market or study a little bit about it.
Right.
And I love the challenge of making it entertaining. So yeah, appreciate the compliments. But look, there's a lot of people that do this. Your show's different than my show. You guys are bold enough here to not just do a show about LSU football. You're bold to have a co-host who is wearing a hat while we are losing. And I'm looking at you, Chip, wearing a Ryder Cup hat when in 2 consecutive Ryder Cups we've gotten our asses kicked. What the hell was up with that, Chip? As if we didn't have enough losing going on in Louisiana. Yeah, let's put the hat on where those stinking Europeans just came into our house.
Yeah, but it's a good looking hat.
Hey, we had a valid comeback that Sunday though.
No, who gives a shit? Nobody does. You're right. I didn't know if I could curse or not.
No, you're right.
No, of course you can.
They came into our house. We had every single home.
We're back.
Okay, good. I didn't need that Ryder Cup. That Ryder Cup pissed me off so much. I'm not even
the president showed up.
Yeah,
to cheer him on.
Right.
Still,
it didn't do a damn thing. I mean,
it didn't do anything.
Whatever anyone's politics are that are watching it, good for you. But we didn't win on our own turf. And then, we had Rory McIlroy talking about, the gallery was just too tough on me. Shut up! You beat us. Don't bitch about beating our asses. Okay.
Right.
So I mean, I was the Ryder Cup is like the only golf thing I even remotely care about in the least bit, and it drives me nuts because I'm in a group chat with all my high school buddies. I'm the only one in that whole group chat that doesn't golf, and they like to break it down and all that shit. I was like, no, we lost. This is the only team thing in golf that anyone gives a rip about, and we lost to these stupid Europeans. And I love Europe. My wife and I got engaged in London. I would live in London. Okay, but the simple truth is, anytime I see that Ryder Cup logo, and Chip, I'll be honest, I have a couple other friends that wear the Ryder Cup stuff, and you know what they say? The same thing. Well, the stuff is cool. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. You know who else is cool? You know who else has cool uniforms? The Seattle Seahawks. That doesn't make me enjoy watching Marshawn Lynch stiff arm my favorite team.
Right.
Times over.
Right. Exactly.
So dude, the Ryder Cup pisses me off. But you didn't have to change wardrobe. I didn't mean to bully you there. I'm on your show.
I think it's a valid point, and I respect it, actually, to be honest. And also, but I'll just lead into this. I think I've been listening to you since – I'm trying to remember the first time I saw you on YouTube. Were you on before COVID? What year did you start?
Yeah, so Yeah, I was on before COVID. Yeah, I did some
Yeah.
LSU YouTube stuff. Yeah.
Okay, I remember seeing you on COVID, and you do a very good job. And you also have the ability to break down film, which I think is freaking awesome. And I didn't know you were a DJ, and I think that's freaking even.
Oh, it's the best thing.
That's even more. And also, I've seen you. I should have known. I've seen you with a picture with. Like it wasn't Paul. Who was it? Mike Jones, right? Was that? Don't you have a picture with Mike Jones? Or maybe you?
Yeah, I do have a photo of Mike Jones.
Yeah. That was a long time ago when you posted that, but I remember.
Dude, that was forever ago. Yeah, I did a video with Mike Jones. The only thing that I've gotten to do some cool stuff. I'm not rich off of this. Every single person watching this has more money than I do. I swear I'll put my hand on the Bible about it. But I do enjoy this. The only like really cool thing that happened to me with Power Hour LSU, since you guys asked about me, I feel uncomfortable talking about me. I know most people just.
It's my favorite topic, talking about me.
that is Zombie's favorite topic.
Well, so a few years ago, I got to through this channel, through something that happened with this channel, I got to sit down and meet the hip hop artist that got me through the early years of my college. Was T.I. I got to meet T.I. a few years ago through this channel. And he was my Paper Trail was out like early in my LSU career, and I'm not a big album guy. I'm just like play the hits, which can help you a lot as a wedding DJ. Not playing like deep cut stuff that no one knows. But Paper Trail is still the best hip hop album to me of all time. I know that not a single real hip hop head would ever say that, but that is literally the only like truly transcendent cool thing that's happened to me through this channel.
What year was Paper Trail? Was that 04?
It was a little after that, so it was like 07, 08.
So it's like a second big.
Dude, yeah. It's so big, man. But I appreciate it, Zombie. I've seen you in my chat a few times. I appreciate your support.
No, really. Absolutely. But like Carter, you're being modest. You know, I mean, I understand you're meeting the hip hop guy being the biggest thing, but you know, you got Joe Burrow, like just going through your stuff and everything, getting ready for tonight and having you on. And again, we really appreciate your time. Yeah. But like, I'm totally jealous because you recently had Daily Joy on. I shot my shot and I sent her a DM to ask her to come on our little podcast, and I hadn't heard back from her. But like Andy Staples, you've had Andy Staples on.
Yeah, Andy's been a friend for a while.
Yeah. You know, so like it was pretty cool stuff, man. So again,
well, I'll tell you this. I've DM'd Fahoko a few times, and I'm trying to get him on. I've had Patrick Queen on before. So if you tell Fahoko to come on my show,
I'll do it.
And then I'll send a Matt. Daly's been a really good friend of mine. But I will also say, out of anyone in SEC media, no one's blown up more than her. Out of anyone that I know in doing things, and I know a little bit about like behind the scenes of what actually's happened to her. Like she's literally not had any time to do anything. I don't even ask her to come on anymore. Right. But like because so for those that don't know, she has like her own clothing brand now.
Yeah. SEC Pretty.
Yeah. So she's shipping out all those orders. Like she's actually doing that. And honestly, like I've turned down, my brand was never as big as hers, but even when I've sold like maybe 100 to 150 shirts with like my logos on them, and I tried to do the shipping thing on my own. I was like, I'm never doing this again. No, it is so much work, and I'm in sports cards, and I ship a lot of cards out, and that's part of the reason why I quit doing like a lot of like high volume sales sports cards, because the shipping of it sucks. It sucks. So.
Well, down here in New Orleans, Devin Snow, Hold the Mayo, and his shirts and everything, and Devin, he ships all that stuff, and that's time consuming and just pain in the ass, man. So, So no, I'll shoot Braden a DM after we finish this. I record off of my phone, so like I don't have it. That's how I have it set up. But I'll reach out to him because he was recently on with T-Bob. And then Daniel, who else was on with them?
Michael Brockers
and BT.
Brandon Taylor.
Yeah, and whatnot. Then I shot Braden Fajoko a DM after that appearance, and said, "Hey, we really appreciate that you came on our little podcast earlier this season in early September." And I was like, we'll make that happen.
Congrats on y'all's success. Thanks for having me on. I'll tell you this as far as like everything that's happening currently right now. Like, you know, I didn't get into this to cover politics. You know, one story I'll share really quickly was when I was at Sirius, I was just an intern. Okay, so there was a guy by the name of Jared Rizzi who headed the Sirius XM politics department, and I begged him. I was like, "Hey, can I do politics for a week? I want to see what it's like to do it." And he was like, "Do you really want to?" I was like, "Your life is easy. Don't." I was like, "No, I want to see what it was like." So he was able to give me a White House badge, and I got to cover Congress and all of it. And I did it for a day, and I was like, "I never want to do this again. I never want to cover." And it's not a Democrat Republican thing. I saw John King. I saw Dana Bash. I saw these people, got to meet these people, was in a press scrum, Mitch McConnell, all that stuff. And I was like, never again. Never, ever, ever again. I didn't even know who the people were. I got in a conversation with Orrin Hatch. Do y'all even know who this is?
Yeah, senator from Utah, right?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So I was just talking to this guy. I thought he was just another guy. And so Jared walked up. I was like, "Why were you talking to the guy?" I was like, "Oh, I had no idea who that was. I was just making conversation."
Right.
You know, you didn't ask to interview him or anything. I was like, "No." And he's like, "That was Orrin Hatch." And I was like, "What the hell is it?" So I was like, "Dude, I just don't want to. No, never again." But it felt like that these last couple of weeks, and you know, it does hurt your search, right? Coaches don't want to deal with this. They didn't get into coaching football to deal with politics and all of that. And, you know, with these kinds of things, the best thing to do is just don't say anything. Don't have another disaster happen in front of you. And it's just been disaster after disaster after disaster. So it's it's stuff that will eventually blow over, you know, because, you know, when you get the coach, you're going to get the coach and all of that. You just don't want to secretly hurt yourself any more than what you've already done.
For sure.
Because they just keep putting their foot in it. You know, like where are the communication majors or the PR majors or whatever it is, or just social media people that are supposed to be surrounding these people, you know, the governor, the new LSU president, that they stepped in it once, but there's nobody, it's seemingly, Carter, there's no one there to grab them. They say, "Okay, we're not going to say that again. We're just going to say, thanks for asking that question. I just got into this job. We're going to review it and I'll get back to you shortly." But instead they're doubling down on stupidity. And like I heard you and Preston, guy talking earlier this evening. I literally had a very liberal friend of mine from New York, from Long Island, text me last week. And he's like, "Your governor is choosing he's a huge Ohio State fan, but he's like, your governor's picking the next head coach." And I'm like, "No," and I knew this would get him, but I'm like, no. Like the president's gonna pick the you know, and it's like it's so, and then it blew over and everything. But I really just feel like this whole entire season has been like that. You know, like when we're getting ready for the season and everything, and we're getting ready to preview the Clemson game, I said to Daniel and Chip, like, Brian Kelly has to prove it. Go beat Clemson, and then I'll believe you. But it was just almost like, I'm not saying the man was lying, but Nussmeier was obviously hurt. And it wasn't until after the Southeastern game that it's like, okay, he's on the downside of it. I don't know why he was playing in the early third quarter against Southeastern and got banged up again on a sack or a late hit. Not a late hit, but a hit. But then it just kept going off the rails with Brian Kelly. And so we were ready to get rid of him before, you know, everybody else was. Not that we were ahead of the curve, though, Carter, but like when he said, "Well, y'all are just spoiled," after the Florida game, I was livid. Of course we're spoiled as LSU fans, and that's what we are. I mean, like, I know you joke about not being a journalist. I mean, we're fanboys here, the three of us, and whatnot. But yeah, like I say, the GOAT, Nick Saban, the grass eater, Les Miles, and I have my less is more Canes cup that I drink.
Oh yeah,
during
there
the
you
pod.
go.
But and the crazy Cajun all won national championships here. So of course, when Brian Kelly was named head coach, we're like, well, of course, the winningest coach and in college football is going to have success here because these other two guys before him did. Well, certainly Saban, but just oh my God, it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
and so.
Yeah, you never know. Like, I mean, this is the thing that I tell everyone is there have been other not great coaches that have won national championships, right? Like, so I don't think anyone would consider Les or Ed a great head coach per se, but I don't think anyone would consider Gene Chizik that either. So
Larry Coker. I was gonna say Larry Coker.
Larry
too.
Coker's the big
yeah.
one,
Yeah, so much of winning a natty is lucky, but my position on BK was you've got to at least make playoffs, and he would have had 0 playoff appearances through 4 seasons. And one thing I always preach is he went in with the message of process over results, right? And the problem with that is the 2 prior coaches were results over process guys. It wasn't always pretty. A lot of times it was lucky, but they were like, hey, we got the job done.
Right.
Where Nick Saban was the ultimate process over results guy. He was very angry at the end of the Bluegrass Miracle because it was a lucky result, right?
Right.
And being a process over results guy, if you preach it, you got to actually live by it. And Brian Kelly didn't live by it. Towards the end, he was like, hey, you guys aren't happy with winning, or you're spoiled and all those different things. Well, that goes against your creed, right? Because your offense was absolutely abysmal this year. The offensive line development, which is what you've been known for, was absolutely abysmal. And the problem with that is if you're going to be a process over results guy, there is a standard by which you should be able to play, regardless if you are still able to win games. And I've done a lot of research on this, before even Brian Kelly was fired. This was during Brian Kelly's LSU tenure. He had by far the worst special teams unit of any Brian Kelly coach team and any LSU coach team. All right, even pre-Brian Kelly. So we're talking about and this is since BK started at Notre Dame in 2009. Then he had his worst all-time defense, which of course was 2023. And now this year was his worst all-time offense. So it wasn't just one thing during his tenure that was bad. It was multiple different things that were bad. And that to me is a sign of bad process. That's a sign of a guy that's not, it's really hard to have that much bad luck or have units be that bad with 3 separate units over 4 seasons. And then last year's team not having any of those terrible, terrible, terrible units, but you not necessarily being great at any one of those 3 units. It's a sign of rancid coaching. So I do agree that he deserved to be fired. I understand everyone's posting the nice, well, he won 10 games here and then 10 games here and then 9 games year before, but the process wasn't right. And it was clear for anybody that was watching.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Was the LSU Brian Kelly the same coach? Because it seems like, Carter, there's all these stories about him being very hands-off and not really available to his own staff, much less his players. Was that the same Brian Kelly at Notre Dame?
Yeah, a little. I mean, you go throughout his Notre Dame tenure. Brian Van Gorder was a guy that I believe was in BK's wedding, and he was a defensive coordinator, and that was by far his worst coordinator at Notre Dame. Now, Notre Dame guys will debate if he was by far the worst. I think he was. And then he had the 4-8 season that was very fluky. It was a lot of 1-loss games, and then he got locked in, and then became what he was at the end of his Notre Dame tenure. But there was always a sense that when it came to recruiting, he would prefer to be anywhere else, right? And there are pros and cons to the CEO laissez-faire, live and let live approach. But he was hands off there. But here at LSU, it was really, really bad. Per speaking to some of the players and coaches through the source. Right. I'm not a source guy, whatever. But at the same time, I would push back though on like some of the culture remarks, I don't think it is true that LSU's culture was bad. There were former players that were at practice. There were guys that chose to stay on the team instead of going somewhere else and getting immediate playing time. He didn't have a whole lot of just diabolically bad transfers. He just was not good at actually coaching football.
Mhm.
And that's a problem. And another thing that really hurt BK was at Notre Dame, he was very, very good between the headsets. He was good at managing a game. That was not the case at LSU. It was probably arguably his biggest weakness. Timeout usage, getting everyone aligned, on and off the field. So he was a different coach. So even with Notre Dame fans warning LSU fans about what could transpire and that he was starting to decline at Notre Dame, it wasn't just them being pissed. I really do think he became a worse coach when he was at LSU, and I think a lot of it is all the guaranteed money that he had. So,
Right.
so it was a lot of that.
That's what I say. If you give me 10 years, $100 million, I probably wouldn't work as hard, as I did before.
I mean, there's definitely a good coach in there, in his, you can't win like the way he did and not be a good coach on different levels. But yeah, I think Carl, let me ask you a question. So I think the hatred that LSU fans get, it's almost like in the national media. It didn't seem, at least I have no idea, but just from an outside bystander looking in, it seems as if they did not like Kelly very much. And I know everybody's like, oh, the old saying, oh, ESPN hates LSU. Sometimes I usually back off that. I'm like, that's, whatever. That's just us being fans. It is a little, they do pounce on LSU a lot. They were really it seemed like they were super anti-Kelly. And
yeah, they were.
And ESPN. Yeah. And it seemed like maybe they're for good reason. And now I hear some people saying, well, he won 10 games. And it's just a little, I could see where LSU fans would get, it kind of fuels the fire a little bit, and not to say that it's true, but I think LSU fans get a little upset. And I think that makes it kind of like, it draws the fringes of the LSU fan base,
Yeah. So it's weird. I'm glad you brought up the national media. So there are quite a few national media members that got a lot of access to BK and everything that changed behind the scenes when the actual tenure started. So CBS did a feature, Dellinger did a feature a lot, and mostly the national media loves LSU. Okay.
I would assume.
I think it's borderline insane when people say that the national media doesn't love LSU. Sure. Every single national media member votes LSU as the best atmosphere in college football. No school has more national media representation and former players and fans. I can go down a list of a gazillion names, both in college and in NFL and just in general. It's just they did not really like Brian Kelly. And a lot of it was because, the national media reveres Notre Dame and they didn't like the way that all transpired. And I get that as well. But there's also just a lot of national media that don't like them. Let's take a podcast that's the biggest sports podcast. Pardon My Take. They're huge influencers. No one loves LSU more than Pardon My Take. I know some of the producers. I've met Big Cat and PFT in the past. They love LSU. They freaking adore LSU. They just do not like Brian Kelly. They just do not. So he came in as a guy that many people just simply did not like. And, it just remained that way, right? And he's not the most likable guy, as a lot of people, have stated, but he won a lot of football games. And you look at the Notre Dame tenure, there were a lot of weird things. He had a lot of Lucky the Irish moments, and some of those did, luck over into LSU, but eventually it ran out.
Yeah, he had 2 lucky games against LSU. You didn't, that. I mean,
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I forget the coach's son's name. What was the holder? I mean, he definitely scored. If that happens, LSU doesn't lose to him that game, and he's the 2018. Well, I guess it was the first day of 2019. If the guy doesn't make a hellacious catch on the sidelines, and our safety and corners don't completely slip in the rain, they don't probably win that game either. But you're right, he did have a lot of luck.
All right, so let me ask you this before
Sure.
this is it. You guys get to put the fan hat on. I don't need you to be Pete Thamel here. Okay, I don't want to hear. And you guys might have sources that tell you who the next guy will be, but obviously at this juncture, we're still trying to figure out what our brain trust looks like. Even though we think we know, I will never know until I get an actual release from LSU when it's official that Verge is the actual guy. So I want to start with you, Daniel. Who is your dream LSU head coach? Who do you want to be the next guy?
Okay, so the dream is, and I'm going to contradict myself, and Lion Up LeBlanc is going to call me out in the chat because he's already called me out on this last week, because our old man used to always say that football is a young man's game. And so with that in mind, I think part of why Brian Kelly didn't work was I think we missed his championship window. Like Chip said, I think there's a good coach in there. Maybe he was overpaid. Maybe he was just over the hill. And so I think
so you're an ageist.
I am an ageist. But this is where I'm going to contradict myself. Is the dream is obviously Nick Saban, because he comes home, we hated him because we loved him so much. And so he comes home and it's like, you know what? It was true. Our love our love that turned into hate was all real because you really loved us too. Sort of thing. So that's the storybook of it. With that said, I've talked myself into Zombie was telling me about we were talking about Georgia's defensive coordinator before we came on board here. Like anybody under the age of 42, I'm going to talk myself into. John Summerall, I don't know if he's 42. I don't know how old he is. 41. I think that's why I said 42.
43.
I think that's why I had 42 in my mind. But like Kelvin, I love the idea of Kelvin Shepherd. And I know that a lot of LSU fans are split on that. Maybe that's our Braden Fajoka, influence there. But I love the idea of somebody young and passionate. And instead of trying to get a Brent Key, getting a Clark Lee, getting a Kenny Dillingham, I think we can recreate it on our own with Kelvin Shepherd.
I see what you're doing there, the graduate.
Maybe in the NIL transfer portal area, it's harder to motivate players. Maybe you need somebody who's that passionate about the program to motivate the players. Not saying that Lane Kiffin, somebody can't motivate players if they were to be the LSU coach, but I've kind of talked myself into that. So,
Kelvin Shepherd is Daniel's guy. All right, Chip, let's see what you got.
I mean, dream, obviously, like what Daniel said, obviously it would be Saban. I mean, what can't you love about that guy? I mean, you're right, though. I mean, we could have I don't think you'd have a Kelly, but, you could have a guy that you're going to have to pay him. He already has a lot of money, but, I mean, is the fire still in him that he had in 2000? I don't think that that's possible. I love Kelvin Shepherd, but I'm going to go someone – I think the Tulane coach is I think Summerall's a legit star, But I mean, I will talk myself to anyone at this point, especially after the week we just had and what it looks like what we're having again this week, kind of, So I just want somebody in that spot, and I'm scared. I'm terrified to wait on Lane Kiffin. Absolutely terrified.
Why?
I mean, unless I feel like being left at the altar. I get that. All your eggs, and that. I mean, what if Lane Kiffin came here? Have I been his biggest? I can't stand Lane Kiffin, but I would love him if he came to LSU.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm an LSU fan. I would make out with him, and I'm straight. Some people would beg to differ, but I love
Connor,
him. I would love
This
to.
is
let
the
me
point.
let me see without the hat again. Let me see.
Oh no,
Yeah.
no, it's bad hair. It's bad hair. But
Oh
you know,
yeah, no, he wouldn't
Connor,
make out with you. If
he
had-
wouldn't.
if
There's
had-
no chance. He's a good-looking dude. You're right.
Yeah, I
Neither
was
was
about to say.
I'm also a good-looking guy, and that might be what I'm going to. Maybe deep down inside, I'm looking for a handsome guy. You know, I don't know.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness!
well,
All right,
that's
Carter,
fine.
this is the
I
part
have
of the
no problem with
podcast
that.
where I hold up the legal
Legal team.
disclaimer that when Chip says something that's going to get us in trouble, legal
No, that's
sends
not
me
in
a
trouble. Live your
note,
life,
and
baby.
we just
No,
do
no.
the thing. Now,
Carter,
but
I was
talk about
in my past life. I was an infantryman in the military for 15 years, so I kind of have a lot of locker room talk, and
Yeah, no, I get that.
I'm trying to
Trust
cut
me.
it back with my high school football locker room / infantry.
Well,
82nd
yeah. Well,
but
it's funny you say that, Chip, because I used to think like when stand-ups talk to one another, I got called everything in the book, and one of my fellow comics that was a veteran was like, dude, it's nothing like when people that serve talk to each other. Do you hear it? It's like it's some
you
of
got
this stuff.
thick skin,
and
bro.
I-
You got some thick skin.
yeah, you can't do you can't do that. And I wasn't comparing the two. Obviously, what you salute to your service
no,
and all
dude.
that.
I
But
see
when
some
it
things
comes,
that people say to y'all, and it's pretty crazy.
it's crazy. You hear the craziest thing. All right, and Zombie actually texted me who his guy is, so we don't need to hear from him. He wants Hugh Freeze as the next coach. So that's what it is. Hugh
Yeah,
Freeze saw Hugh Freeze saw the University Club golf course and was like, "Ah, dude, I will take."
What was the hey Daniel? What was the old pastor from Baton Rouge? The one who has sinned?
Jimmy Swaggart.
Oh,
Yeah,
Jimmy
Talk
Swagger.
about Hugh Swaggart. Hugh Swaggart.
Hugh's right. yeah.
Swaggart.
Carter, we like to joke because of the age difference between Daniel and Chip and myself that we have great institutional knowledge that spans decades. Having
Yeah.
started watching LSU in the '70s. But I'm gonna talk about Jimmy Swaggart for a second. When he got busted with that prostitute on Airline Highway, it wasn't Playboy, it was Penthouse back in the day when there was such a thing.
Yeah.
Penthouse reached out to her and wanted her to do a photo shoot, and she was so unattractive that they shot it in black and white because they couldn't do it in color. Because she was
What?
that, yeah, swear.
No, that's not true.
That swear.
No, I did. Wait,
They shot the layout in black and white because she couldn't put it in Technicolor.
She wasn't good with the eyes. You had to go black and white.
Yeah.
Maybe I should do that. Just take every picture
It
in
was
black.
shot in black and white.
It's easier to Photoshop in black and white, right?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, Photoshop back
Right.
then, but whatever.
They
But,
touched it up somehow.
I did not text Carter and say Hugh Freeze, so I'd like my 2 minutes to say. But Carter, like when Les Miles was here, and it was it's always the fear that he was going to leave and go back to Michigan because Michigan needed a Michigan man at Michigan. The four of us, well, maybe you could on your own, probably you could, but the three of us knuckleheads, we could not have written a better opening narrative than Frank Wilson provided at his press conference last week, right? I mean, it seems like forever ago, whatever, but it's like so well articulated and laid out in the passion and like do you know what LSU means to LSU and Louisiana people and whatnot? And Brian Kelly didn't really get that, in my opinion. But it's almost like, do we need that LSU guy, today to come back and restore the culture of the program? Because like you said, there's so many former players on the national level, certainly on the local level, but like we just get outplayed. I had actually reached out to Adrian McGee. The 2019 team.
Offensive lineman, yeah, of course.
Yeah, when he
Great
was
player.
the one pancaking multiple Vanderbilt defenders,
Yeah.
and then fast forward to this year, it's them doing it to us. Like I don't care what Vanderbilt does with Vanderbilt. This is LSU, and we are spoiled, and it is a different standard that we hold ourselves to, or that we want to hold our team to. So, I could get behind Calvin Shepard. Like build an all-star. And my thinking on this, Scott, I don't know if I'm sure you may have seen it, or somebody brought it to your attention. Somebody said if Nick Saban was still at Alabama, James Franklin, Billy Napier, and Brian Kelly would already be analysts on his staff or whatever. So, like, if you took a young guy in like that knows what it is to play at LSU and the physicality and the tradition and culture of LSU, but like Daniel says, that can motivate. I mean, if you can motivate multimillionaires at the NFL level to play, you can do it with almost millionaires or almost multimillionaires at the college level. Because T-Bob was talking about Tommy Moffitt when he had the guys on with Braden Fajoko.
That was a great interview. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. But he's talking about Tommy Moffitt kicking him in the ribs. Yeah, when he's on his hands and knees because he couldn't complete the 110s or whatever. You can't do that today. And I think so. Maybe somebody that can talk to today's athletes, that is a young guy that's been there, done that, and is now doing it on a national level, in NFL, and just surround him with those analysts that Saban collected at Alabama, and pay those guys and have a staff that's worth $13 million, but it's not all just your head coach. But I do like Schumann from Georgia. I mean, he was with Kirby. He was co-defensive coordinator with Lanning. He was with Saban, of course. Summerall at Tulane. Okay. But like we all said, we thought Brian Kelly was a shoo-in to win a championship here because Les did and Ogeron did. So it's there if we get the right guy in. So, but then you mentioned, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but Levy at Mississippi State. Okay.
Yeah, I always like to give people a deep cut, right? One that just comes out of left field because Brian Kelly was a deep cut. In many ways, Nick Saban was, and
absolutely.
When Skip Bertman made the hire of Les Miles, it wasn't really well received as well. So, Gabe brought up Jeff Brom. That would be a fantastic hire as well. But what's interesting, and this would be something that I would share with the audience, because I do talk more so to players' parents than I do the actual players. And oftentimes the players' parents are willing to share a little bit more. And one thing it's interesting is that, there's still an allure of LSU where playing for LSU still does matter more. I know of players on this team that took less to play with LSU. They've always gotten the hometown discount, if you will. Even guys that aren't from LSU, they've taken less to play under the Tiger Stadium lights. But what I would also ask everyone to do is put yourself in the shoes of some of the recruits, and not just the recruits, the transfer portal guys, and understand that this is a more mercenary style of football, the way things are now. So, do kids care as much about the LSU brand as they once did? And not just talking about kids and they would recruit nationally. It's also kids locally. We've seen some local kids leave for the highest dollar amount, one of which is a really good football player for USC. So there's more factors at play than let's just bring a guy back that can restore the LSU brand. Because personally, I would like Kelvin Shepherd the most from my interactions with Kelvin. He was at LSU when I was at LSU. We're the same age. Interviewed him quite a bit when I was young in media, when he was a young stud linebacker for LSU, and he's always had amazing vision and idea. I didn't know he wanted to be a coach at the time, and personally, I would like that from just a total fanboy hire. But I would also bring up at the same time that he's probably going to be an NFL head coach pretty soon. And what you don't want is someone that comes in and is saying, look, I was this close to being an NFL head coach. Now here I am in college. This is a completely different thing than I thought. This is so unfreaking believably different than the NFL. And in many ways, college is more difficult than it is in the NFL. The amount of coaching you do of actual football in the NFL to what you do overall at the job is closer. Whereas in college, so much of your coaching has absolutely nothing to do with actually coaching football. So if you're a pure football guy, it sucks coaching in college, right? It really, really, really does. So there's a lot of pros and cons of getting someone like him or Joe Brady to come back to college, because it is a mess of a job. You do have to, kiss babies and talk and all of that. So yeah, it is difficult. But yeah, I do want to address the Jeff Levy thing.
Mhm.
I was just given a deep cut name. Like, I like to really kick the tires on every single name that nobody else mentions, right? Because
Right.
like Jeff Levy is a guy that has a lot of SEC coaching experience now.
Does.
So you factor that in, and then you compare it to someone like John Summerall, who really
Tomorrow.
done. They're the same age.
Right.
Yeah.
They are the same age. So what Levy has done at Mississippi State is really, really, really impressive. Is it kind of fluky? Yes. There have been
You
some
could also say he was
fluky.
unlucky too. He's been unlucky this year. He
Yeah.
should have more wins. His team plays their ass off, and I've said that.
And the thing is like, people give Brian Kelly a lot of credit for, turning around LSU and the 39 scholarship guys or whatever the hell it was. I mean, Jeff Levy took over at Mississippi. He didn't have Will Campbell fall in his lap. I mean, like, it was a mess that Zach Arnett cleaned up. So it wasn't just Zach Arnett. It was basically reviving the community after the saddest thing that
Sure.
could happen to your program actually happened, losing your head coach tragically. So, what he's done has been nothing short of incredible. Now, that wouldn't be the guy that I would hire, but I am a big believer in price as well. It wouldn't be as expensive as it would be to get someone else if you required someone to have P4 experience before coming over. And then also in the Glenn Schumann thing, I'm really high on him. I like him a lot. He's a quieter guy. I think one thing people are getting mixed up is like, hey, we're getting him. He's going to be a lot like Dan Lanning. They're not the same person. Lanning is a psychopath. So keep that in mind, and also keep
Right.
in mind that we're still kind of a what show and trying to get the ball rolling on this. So
Well, I was going to ask you about that, Carter,
yeah.
because when you and Preston were talking earlier, and Preston was fired up, and he called LSU's football program right now because of all the missteps. The pretty girl with a pizza face, and I'd rather go over here with this one who might not be a 10, but the number 10 has a big giant pimple on the forehead or whatever, and I'm gonna go with this one because it's safer play over there. But sooner or later, we're going to get this figured out, and LSU is going to go back to being LSU. And wouldn't you think? I mean, I know that they've said, or he said, or y'all said, people are laughing at LSU, coaches and athletic directors and media and everything because of the unforced errors after the unforced errors. But like, it's still LSU. Yeah, I know you could say that if you're Florida or whatever, but I don't know. We're fanboys, and of course we think we're going to
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this from sources, actual journalism degree going on here. The agents are pissed off, and I've gotten to know a few, and one that's lower on the totem pole. So this isn't Jimmy Sexton, Trace Armstrong. Right. It is someone that isn't up there, but he would know that there are some people not happy about this because now you're starting to mess with their bottom line and how they conduct business and all of that. So the thing that they did bring up though is like, well, what if they do decide to go with the incentivized contracts? Well, we don't want that to happen either if you're an agent, even though you're spoken out against pretty loudly by a very powerful person. So, there's a lot going at play right here. There's a lot of balls, going in different directions, and it really does stink. What do you, before I go, I need an Alabama prediction from you, Daniel. And by the way, okay, so I'm always infatuated by people's backgrounds. Where the hell? It looks like you're at a damn coffee shop here. Where are you, Daniel?
I know.
I mean, it could be a coffee shop. I'm on my back patio because I have 2 young kids inside the house that are asleep right now. So,
Oh, so
there's
you're
really.
outside.
Oh yeah, I'm outside.
He's banished.
Yeah, I'm
Wait, so-
banished. That's it. Yeah, I'm banished because there's no other space for me to do this without possibly waking the kids and upsetting the wife. So my
Not for long.
background's the brick wall,
Not for long.
but not for long. 3 more weeks, and then I'll have another studio.
Damn, dude, you make bank then. You have another studio.
Oh, another house.
Yeah,
Another
yeah,
house.
yeah,
Move,
yeah. You made studio sound like freaking like Frank Sinatra and the Rat Pack you
Yeah,
over there.
Well, I've gotten some shit from some people in the chat before about my background compared to Chips, compared to Zombie Bob's, and they're like, "You just got a brick wall. You got to step up your game." So, but we knew we were possibly moving, so I haven't.
Well,
really.
I'm surprised I didn't bring. I'm actually in a helicopter over Tiger Stadium.
Nice.
Oh yeah, you're floating. I can
Nice.
see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
All right, that's a good one.
Yeah, Rick, you can land the bird here pretty soon. I'm almost done. This went 30 minutes longer than I thought. So I've had to pay for all this fuel here to stay up here, but
To be able to hover. Prediction for the game. You know, Chip, was it me and you talking about it earlier, or was it me and Gabe?
You and I definitely talked about it earlier.
Yeah, like it's been so crazy. Like I haven't even thought about the LSU Alabama game because it's like there's just craziness that pops up every day with the governor, with the, like Zombie said earlier, that Frank Wilson introductory press conference feels like 3 weeks ago now because of all the craziness the last week. So I haven't even really thought about the game on Saturday. I do think we play better, but I just don't see. I mean, is our offensive line going to be light years better? And that's the part I can't get past. I think it would need to be light years better for us to win the game. Maybe we do commit to running the ball. Maybe the offensive line does improve. I do think we do those things. So I think we keep it closer. I did take us in 11.5 for the spread. So I guess I got to make a prediction that 20. So I'm going to say Alabama. I'm going to be generic as hell here. Alabama 28, LSU 24.
Okay. All right.
We lose, but a good effort.
Let's hear what you got, Zombie.
Well, first I want to toot my own horn for I had LSU losing at Vanderbilt, and then who did we play last time? I don't even remember.
A&M.
A&M. Carter, I had 47-17 was my prediction on that. Caught a lot of heat for it. And what was it? 49.
It was 49-18 until we scored.
Wait, you had A&M winning that by that score?
47-17.
Damn,
you took a lot of shit. You took a lot of shit.
You got a script back there somewhere.
Yeah, and then before Brian Kelly got fired, I was already on record saying well, it was like they were going to hang 50. It's like 56-16 or something like that. It's. I would love it to be 28-24 Alabama just because we are in it. It's going to be like 38-20 Alabama. We don't have a left tackle. We don't have Weeks.
I saw on FanDuel it dropped to 9.5. By the way, I do think that's weird, and I think they know a lot more than I do. But I do think Frank Wilson will have him ready to play. There's no doubt he's a motivator. If you were playing in NCAA 2026, he would if you were creating him, it would come up as motivator, correct? That's what he is. I think they'll play for him. I think the kids respect him. You would know more than I do, though, Carter. I think you keep it close. You're a game that where Alabama, and as of late, the last year and a half, with their my mind goes blank on what's the coach's name? The guy from Washington,
Kalen DeBoer.
Yep.
DeBoer. I have trouble really quick thinking sometimes with the coaches, but he struggled against games where he's supposed to kick people's ass. Now I do think Alabama's played out of their minds the last since week 2. I don't know. I think you keep it close. I think it's 31-24. Maybe we have a chance to win at the end. Maybe we can't convert a fourth. I can't say we're going to win though. It doesn't. It's just there's just so much shit going around. But God, if they did, I don't know.
I had 24 points.
The rest run around naked. But
all right, Carter. Before we let you go, a little deep dive on your background. I understand that you're not a ribeye guy; that you're a fillet guy. Correct?
Yeah, I love both of them.
Oh, I thought you were more fillet than ribeye.
Yeah, I am. I am.
Okay.
More
Okay. And then, all right. So the question is, putting you on the spot, how do you order it?
I get it.
How's it cooked?
I get it medium rare. Get it.
man.
We know it. We know it without a doubt, Carter. We know it. All right, Carter. We thoroughly appreciate your time tonight. We'd love to have you on anytime. You got nothing better to do than to hang out with 3 knuckleheads. And then tell
everybody. Do y'all all live in? Where do y'all live?
So I'm in Baton Rouge.
I'm in Butte.
Where's Butte, Louisiana? Where is it?
It's Hahnville.
Hahnville. Okay. All right.
Yep, Hahnville. But we're from Mandeville.
Yeah, originally. Tell everybody where they can follow you on social media for your sports world, and then do you have social media for your DJing? How does somebody book? How do they book you for the DJ?
I don't do any social media for the DJing, which is crazy because I do shoot wild wedding videos. Because I do a lot of small town weddings. I do a lot of weddings in like the woods, which is so the one in Denham was at a really nice venue, and then the next one was in the woods. And dude, they were both fun. The one in the woods though was like literally I've never seen some of the things I saw at the one in the wood.
That's where the shit goes down in the woods.
Yeah, dude, in the woods, man. Like
real people live,
yeah, and it was so. I'm sorry for going on this, but it was crazy. Like I've seen almost everything at a wedding. I've seen someone get a forklift out. There was a forklift in the middle of the dance floor, and that was another one out in the woods. It was like a barn in the woods, and I was like, where did the forklift come from? Like the guy had been drinking heavily, and I was like, this is not OSHA certified or anything like that. But I am not a trickster. Like, I mean, I do some like mixing tricks or anything like that. I just play the right songs at the right time. So I don't want anyone to think if they found like, because I made like a little like Sandstorm remix for the South Carolina game, and I posted it, and people loved it. But like, I'm not Jazzy Jeff or like actual real mixologists that are out there that can really do awesome shit with the mixer and all that. But yeah, if you want me to come do your wedding, Power Hour LSU. But the main thing I want to do is for everyone to check out the film study breakdowns. And I'll say this: if you go to and see any of my film study breakdowns, I did not play at a high level. These are all my best educated guesses. I don't want anyone to ever think that I know more than the coaches or the players. And what's very important when you watch any film study breakdown, I include this in the beginning of almost every one of them. There are so many factors that go into every single play, all the way down to how it's taught in the meeting room. And what happens is I'll get emails from people saying, hey, Carter, you're just saying the meeting room stuff way too much. We get it. But literally you have it comes down to how you're taught. And so much of what goes wrong could be, you can take this for however it's you can, let me put it this way. I don't fully agree with how some things are coached from what I know from the coaches and their messages to the players on how it should be. Then again, I've never coached or played at a high level, but I know people that do, and they're like, wait, why would you do that? Why would you set things up like that? Why would you get in that set, if you will? Why would you let 2 unblocked B gap blitzers versus Vanderbilt be let go, just to give one away. That really pissed me off and pissed an LSU fan that's coached at a high level off. But it's very important that these are very well compensated young adults doing this, but there's also very well compensated coaches that could have done a better job of getting these guys in a better spot to succeed. And it's one thing that bothers me a whole heck of a lot. But you guys, thank you so much, Zombie. I appreciate your support.
I appreciate
Daniel,
you.
I appreciate you. And Chip, thanks for pissing me off with the Ryder Cup.
Anytime he wears it now, anytime he wears that hat, I'm gonna give him shit.
But no, you should, if it makes you happy. So did you go to the Ryder
Well,
Cup?
my boss gave it to me, and I got it like a week ago. It really
So that means you got to wear it.
Oh, you just got it now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
now I feel like shit.
hat.
Now I feel like an asshole.
Yeah, that's the first time you ever wore it.
But it fits. I do agree. Like I'm red, white, and blue. Obviously, when it comes to soccer, when it comes to hockey, I love national sports, and I get into the Ryder Cup. And I don't like golf as much as Daniel when it comes to watching it, but I do get into the Ryder Cup, and I was pissed off, not just because we lost the week before. Then I think we lost to Ole Miss that weekend. But yeah, dude, I get super pissed, and I would say that exact thing. But it fits amazing.
Yeah, it's got like a dry fit. Yeah, I could tell.
Yeah, it
looks like a good hat. It's a good.
No, it's a good hat. It's just like
I agree with you.
Yeah. No, it pisses me off because they got Eli there, they had Michael Strahan there, they had Colin Yost there. I mean, they did a lot of shit for it, and for Team Europe to take it as seriously as they did, and then Team USA all the way down to I can go on 1,000 rants about this.
Embarrassing
to wear sneakers to the ball. Did you see that? Oh, yeah, that pissed me off, dude. You're spitting on the golf gods with that. And I don't dress nice. But the more I thought about it, the more I was like, dude, that just pisses me off. Like don't do that. And then the way it's coached, I know I'm not smart enough, and this is way out of my realm, but the fact that the other team was using analytics and the other guy was trying to what's it? Keegan Bradley was the captain.
Yeah.
Okay. He was more worried about doing the dances, all this stuff. No, dude, worry about coaching our damn team, the captain in our team. We need to win this thing. It's our home field.
Like I was a casual watcher, and I knew, was it Russell Henley and Scotty Scheffler on the first day when they came off, and it was Russell Henley on the first tee, and so that meant Scotty Scheffler was going on the evens. Like even I knew, I'm like, that's a bad call, because the little bit that I had watched beforehand, I knew that distance was a factor for the guys teeing off on one, and Henley's not a distance guy. What are we doing?
Yeah,
and it wasn't until the caddies suggested it the next day that those two should switch that Keegan Bradley was like, "Oh yeah, we should switch those two guys. Yeah, let's do that."
It's what Brian Kelly would do.
It's a Brian Kelly.
Very similar. You're absolutely 100% correct.
And the funny thing about it, and the reason why the Ryder Cup means a good bit to me is because I'm not able to watch it as much because it is during football season and my job is football now, but I remember Game 6, 1998, Jordan, when he hit the shot. I was so young. It's my earliest sports memory, my dad tackling me because he was such a big Jordan fan. And my brother shook up a Sprite and sprayed it like a champagne bottle. It was great. Right. Yeah. And then the second sports memory was Justin Leonard hitting that putt. And that's to me, that's the best American golf moment outside of anything Tiger related, but you know what I'm talking about, right? Of course you are. You know what I'm talking about, Chip?
Is that the 1999?
Yeah, Leonard, Justin Leonard.
Yeah, and it was a comeback too. It was incredible, and that's what should piss everybody off. You
should care. You should care like that.
Give a shit.
When he hit that putt, I was like, "Holy crap, that was insane!" Because they were wearing those absolutely dog shit maroon.
The checker, the 19.
Yeah, it was terrible.
I actually
And,
remember like it was yesterday, Carter. Actually, that you said that was what I was thinking of when you were talking about it. That's why it should get you pissed off because you remember stuff
Yes.
like that, and you remember. I think it was 2 weeks later, Payne Stewart passed away in a plane crash.
That's
you know?
right. It was
And
that year. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's upsetting. It's very upsetting. But I remember that day, and I think it was in September of 1999. Yeah. Very.
When y'all have a gazillion subscribers, we'll go live from wherever it is in England or wherever it is. I don't even know where the next one is. But
I know this. The Dare Manor, is that right?
Oh,
No, that's wrong.
Where is it in Europe? Where is it? I got to know.
Yeah,
that.
Dare Manor. So that's in Ireland, County Limerick,
Woo!
Steve.
All right.
Limerick.
Mark it down. Y'all save up money. I got to cover my trip
We're
because
gonna-
y'all are richer than me. So
Now, Carter, in a previous life, I lived
Zombie will
in,
pay for all of us.
I lived in London with
Oh, you did?
the now ex-wife. Yeah. So where in London did you propose to your now wife?
oh, we were. I should know the exact.
Oh, you bet.
I should.
You put
I
on the
should.
spot.
Well, my plan was to, because I'm a Liverpool fan. I wanted to get engaged at Anfield.
Love
where
that.
we went a few days. Yeah. So, but she wanted to do it in London, and we
Yeah.
did it kind of close to where our Airbnb was, which
Okay.
I don't remember where that was either.
Yeah.
But it was like probably a mile from Buckingham Palace, so we were
Okay.
somewhere in that
Yeah,
vicinity.
general area. Yeah. Very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So-
Did you like living there? Did you like living in London?
Before we were there right before, like a year and a half before COVID, so like it was amazing with all the traveling that we were able to do. Like you just don't
Yeah.
understand how big the United States is and
You
how
don't
small
until you go there.
Yeah, like my now fiance and I are going, not to take up too much of your time, we're going the weekend of Thanksgiving. We're going to Europe. It's her first time, but we're going to
Right.
Vienna, Nuremberg, Prague, Krakow, and Budapest. But like the five of them, it's kind of like going
Right.
St. Louis to Chicago
It's
and back
crazy.
over. It's like it's such
It's
a
crazy.
small circle when you overlay Europe on top of the United States or whatever. So it was awesome. My daughter wound up graduating from high school while we were over there, and then COVID hit, and the then wife and I used COVID as a excuse to separate and whatever. But now life's good, and actually I was texting with her today. So but anyway, Carter, we certainly appreciate it, man. Like everything under the sun, DJ, golf, Europe, where to propose, and all that. We'll see you next time.
All right, guys, go Tigers.
I
We'll talk
really
soon.
appreciate it. All right, man.
I got
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Carter. Appreciate you, bro.
Thank y'all. Y'all have a good evening.
What a guy.
All right.
What a great guy.